Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Selena Benavides. Today is all about temper tantrums. I'm going to be talking about what to do in the moment, the best ways to prevent future ones, and then make sure you stay tuned to the very end because I'm going to cover the best strategy that you can use. First, let's talk about the source of temper tantrums. Then we can better understand what do we need to do to best meet our child's needs that they're communicating. For example, if a meltdown is occurring, you might think, are they frustrated and acting out because they can't do something on their own, so they're feeling some sense of inadequacy? Or maybe they're yelling and crying because they're tired or overstimulated. You can check out my video on discipline because I go over the 4 goals of misbehaviors, what each one means, and the best strategy to correspond with each misbehavior. When a tantrum is occurring, it can create a really strong emotional response in us, the adults. Even though these are high-stress moments, we want to focus on staying calm and working to de-escalate the tantrum. Here are a few things you can do in the moment to improve the situation. First, take a few deep breaths and encourage your child to do the same. This can help regulate breathing, and it gives you a moment to pause and think through what steps you should take. Next, we want to focus on safety. We want to make sure they're not doing anything to hurt themselves or others. Third, we want to use distraction as a tool. Diverting their attention elsewhere is a great strategy. This might involve getting them engaged in a different activity, or even taking them outside or to a different room. And then finally, we want to be loving but firm. It can be so tempting in the moment to just give in, give them the toy that they wanted, knowing that it'll stop the tantrum in its tracks. But if we do so, we're conveying the wrong message. Then we let them know that if they escalate and get louder, they'll eventually get what they want. Even better than reacting well to de-escalating a tantrum is preventing them from happening in the first place. Here are 4 parenting techniques you can use to prevent a meltdown. First, set limits. We want to provide clear expectations in advance for children and be firm but loving when we're letting those limits be known. For example, maybe you're doing a painting activity and they're about to grab the old water out and pour it out. You might stop them in the moment and say, I can see that you need some more water. I can't let you pour the old water out on the table, but if you use your words and ask for more, I'll get you some fresh water to dip your paintbrush into. The second technique that's related is planning ahead. We want to anticipate our children's needs and think through how can we set up the environment in a better way so they can be successful as well as us. So with the example of doing the painting activity, we want to lay out all our supplies in advance so the transitions can happen more smoothly. Or if we know that our children are continually arguing during snack time about who's getting fed first, then maybe we'd like to prep the food in advance and then lay the plates down the table at the same time. That way one sibling isn't getting served, then you're waiting a few minutes while you finish prepping the next plate, and then the next sibling's getting served. The goal here is to identify where our tantrums are continually occurring and work to make those transitions happen more seamlessly. The third technique we want to consider is giving choices. I've shared this before, but a common struggle in my household is to get my eldest to settle down for a meal. So presenting a choice might involve me saying, it's dinner time now. Do you want me to race you to the table or can I help carry you there? And the fourth technique is to give logical consequences. When discussing discipline, it's really important that we cover the difference between punishment and consequence. A punishment is when you're giving some type of unpleasant outcome to reduce the likelihood of a behavior occurring again. For example, that might be yelling or spanking a child. And research shows that punishments aren't effective for children, and it can actually promote fear, belittle or humiliate them. And in the case of physical punishments like spanking, it can actually promote the wrong lesson. And it may seem like you're teaching them a consequence, but really what they're learning is that they can use force to make others do what they want. So if punishment doesn't work, you may be wondering, what should I do instead? And the answer is to provide logical consequences. Logical consequences are when you communicate to a child that if you engage in a certain behavior, then there is a clear, logical result or consequence of that behavior. This way, if they choose to do a certain behavior, then they're also choosing the result of that behavior. And it's important for children to understand that connection, as well as realizing that they have a choice. This means that we have to be consistent in following through with our consequences, so that way children understand that we mean what we say when we give consequences in the future. So what does this look like and how do we do so effectively? One example may be during playtime, letting it be known that whatever toys we take out, we have to put back in their bins before we move on to the next activity. And then when they're ready to transition at the very end, you let it be known again, it's time to pick up all our toys that we took out. Another example is something that came up last night with me and my daughter with some stacking cups that she was playing with. She took the yellow cup, threw it on the floor, and then looked at me. So I think trying to gauge my reaction. So she picked up the yellow cup again, threw it on the floor, and looked at me. So after she picked it up that next time, I told her, if we throw our toy again on the floor, we're not going to be able to play with it until tomorrow. So she picked up the yellow cup, threw it on the floor, and again looked at me. So then I gently took the cup and said, we threw our toy on the floor, so we're not able to play with it now, but we can try again tomorrow. And in the moment, it's really hard. You sometimes just want to give them back the yellow cup or whatever the object is. but we have to follow through in the consequences that we're communicating. We can do so though in a very loving but firm way. So to recap, when tantrums are occurring, there's a few things that you can do. You want to take deep breaths, focus on safety, give a distraction, and be loving but firm. And to prevent future tantrums from occurring, we want to set limits, plan ahead, give choices, and provide logical consequences. Thanks for watching. I hope you found some useful techniques. Please be sure to like and subscribe, and check in next week when I'll be releasing a video on a special topic.